Happy Monday afternoon, fourth graders in Mobile County. Today is your last day with me. I know, don't be too sad. Just think, summer's just around the corner, literally in 2 days. Oh my goodness. On Wednesday is your very last day of the 2019-2020 school year. It is so hard and it's mind-blowing for me, and I bet it is for you too, parents, guardians, grandparents, and adults alike. I cannot believe it, and I know you can't either, that we've been through what we've been through together. Thank you again for your continued support. Thank you for being right there along with us. We appreciate you more than you could ever imagine. Thank you for your patience, your support, and we thank you, thank you, thank you. So today, boys and girls, is my last lesson with you. We've been talking about the writing standard, but I wanted to involve something else that's very important as well. And this will occur next Monday. Now, we will not be in school, as I said. On Wednesday is your last day. I will talk just a little bit if I have time at the end. I do have a lot of goals set forth in this lesson, and you know how Miss Cook gets. She gets really talkative, and I'm going to try to get them all done. But anyway, I do want to talk to you just for a moment about next Monday. We will not be in school. Why will we not be in school? Well, it is a very important reason why we will not be in school. Banks and other federal buildings will also not be open, and for a good reason. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But I want to draw your attention just for a few moments on our writing standard, 4th grade, 9th standard, and it is draw evidence from literary or informational texts to support analysis, reflection, and research. So we're talking about text-dependent questions, either about literature or informational text. Or you could have it hybrid, like whenever we see Mrs. Frizzle and her group of students in the Magic School Bus. So that's a hybrid where you can have a narrative and also have informational text within it. Our text today is going to be about Memorial Day, which we will see occur next Monday. So I want to do something a little bit different today for my last lesson with you. So let's take a look at our writing checklist. And I explained this pretty well last Monday when I was with you. And so I'm not going to take a whole lot of time. Remember, I have goals too that I want to cover today. So this is what you do after you write. So boys and girls, after you've written out your response, you're going to make sure that you have covered every one of these check boxes. And if you haven't, then you will go back into your writing and you will add them the best way you can. So you've addressed all parts of the writing task, making sure that you understand the question or questions. Now, boys and girls, you're almost 5th graders. Can you believe it? You're going to be the rulers of the school in just a few months. Oh my goodness, when you start back in August, you'll be 5th graders. So you want to make sure that you answer all parts of the writing task. And many times that is answering more than one question. So make sure, boys and girls, that you answer the first question in its entirety, and then answer the second question in its entirety. And if it's more than one question, make sure that you answer all of the questions. And then many times they'll even tell you other parts and say, don't forget to. Well, that's a big hint to what else you need to add in there, okay? So let's look at the second checkbox. It says, I included evidence from the text. Remember, boys and girls, that text is so, so important. Just like you want people to listen to you whenever you talk. I know I do all the time. I like people listen to me, especially when I'm talking about myself, right? Well, just like that, authors want you to tell them what they've said. So that's why you need to refer back to the text. So you're going to include the evidence from the text to support any ideas that support what question is being asked. Now let's look at the third checkbox. I stayed organized and focused on the writing task. Many times, boys and girls, your teachers have taught you to brainstorm ideas. So you might want to have a bubble, and you might want to have several different things out beside it. You might want to put paragraph 1, sentence 1, paragraph 3, sentence 2, or however your teachers have taught you to organize your ideas, or however you feel like you need to organize to stay focused so that you don't chase those rabbits. All right, let's look at the fourth checkbox. I use correct language, a variety of sentence types, and paragraph transitions. So make sure that everything flows very well. The next checkbox, I corrected. So when you go back to check, make sure that you correct any capitalization, spelling, sentence formation, punctuation, and word choice. And that word choice is very important. Again, I've used the example of baseball. When you're talking about baseball, you're going to use the language that's associated with baseball. If you talk about football, you're going to use the language associated with football. And that's just a few sports analogies. And the last one says, I reread the essay. So if I'm having to reread the questions more than once, I may need to read my answer more than once. So I reread the essay to make sure it was clear and well organized. So boys and girls, that's just a few things to help you as you're writing. And I'll go ahead and tell you, your teachers do this all the time. I know whenever I send text messages out or whenever I write emails, I definitely reread them more than once. Sometimes I reread them twice. And I ask myself, am I getting the message out that I'm wanting to get out? Am I answering what my boss is wanting, my principal's asking? Or am I telling the teacher that I'm trying to convey the message that she needs? Okay? So just make sure, boys and girls, that your purpose is being identified and your audience, whoever you're writing to. All right? So just keep those in mind too. All right, so that I can make sure that I stick with my goals, I'm going to go ahead and move to our next part of today's lesson. Just like I told you, we're going to be reading about a very important holiday. And this is a special holiday because it is a federal holiday. Federal holidays mean that all forms of government, they shut down to memorialize or remember certain people or certain groups of people. And today we're going to talk about a certain types or certain groups of people, okay? I always seem to give out my secrets before they come. I'm so sorry, boys and girls. All right, so let's take a look at Memorial Day, written by Mickey Sedil. And take a look at her first name or his first name, Mickey. And if you remember what I've told you in the past, many times names are spelled differently and they're pronounced differently. I may be totally mispronouncing this person's first name. And if I am very sorry and I apologize. Do the very best you can, boys and girls, with these names, okay? I've even told you my fourth grader's name, my daughter, I spelled her name differently on purpose. So you've got to remember that, boys and girls, when you come across people's names, that they may be pronounced differently or they may be spelled differently. So just remember that, okay? Do your very best whenever you come across that, whenever you're reading, okay? So we just read the title, Memorial Day. So what I do when I read titles is I already start thinking about and making predictions. What could this passage be about? And you know what I thought about? Memorial Day. I'm looking at the word memorial, and I'm thinking of words like memory and remembrance. And I know that they come from the Latin because I looked it up because I wanted to make sure that I gave you everything I could today, boys and girls, because I want to leave you on a really good note today before summer begins. And remember, memorial, memory comes from the Latin, and it means mind or memory. And so whenever you have a memory, It is like remembrance or Memorial Day, okay? So Memorial Day is a special holiday for us to remember. Oh, let's get in the text. You ready? All right. So, and also, boys and girls, I want to remind you that Memorial Day also is a way to denote that summer is fast approaching. So, don't forget that whenever you hear that Memorial Day is coming, you know, boys and girls, that summer is just around the corner. So, we're going to take a look at the first paragraph now. Memorial Day is a big holiday for American families. Everybody gets together for pool parties, barbecues, and all kinds of family fun. While it's wonderful to see people having fun on Memorial Day weekend, it's important to remember the real meaning of the holiday. You know what, boys and girls? I just thought about this little phrase, real meaning. Real meaning. That means that we might get together and have fun, but what are we really doing it for? What's the purpose of us having that day off? Your dad may be off that day, or your grandpa or your aunt or uncle may be off from work, and they usually may have to go to work every other day. So, but why are they off that day? Let's find out if it tells us why. It is a day to honor and remember all the military men and women who have died serving our country. Well, in fact, it did. So why are men and women that usually have jobs and go to work off that holiday, off for that day? And why is it a federal holiday? Well, it just told us in the last sentence. It said that it is a day to honor and remember. So there you go with that word memorial, remember, and memory. That mem, M-E-M, and I want to show you, boys and girls, what I'm talking about with this M-E-M. Do you see this M-E-M right here? And then we have M-E-M right here. So that you can see, boys and girls, that in fact, that root word, mem, does mean mind or memory. All right? So I really want you to be able to see that these root words are family, like word families. Or like when you were studying math in second grade especially, and in third grade you learned about fact families. So the real meaning of the holiday, in fact, is for us to honor and remember all the military men and women who have served our country. Now, there are many different types of military men and women. In fact, there could be Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, and even people in the Marine Corps. So when we're talking about the military, we're talking about many different types and divisions of the military. So now we know the purpose and why we may be off on next Monday. Let's take a look now at the second paragraph because I still want to keep up with my goal today. Memorial Day got its start after the Civil War ended, except then it was called Decoration Day. Oh my goodness, so we learned a little bit more about Memorial Day. So at first, it was not called Memorial Day. It was called Decoration Day. Well, Decoration Day. Guess they were decorating something. I heard a prediction earlier today that maybe people were decorating their homes. Maybe they were decorating their doors. That's a pretty good prediction. Let's find out if that prediction is correct. Everyone decided upon one day, at that time it was May 30th, to go to the cemeteries and decorate the graves of Union soldiers with flowers, notes, and sometimes even handmade toys. This was in 1868. Well, wow, there's a little history for you. Look at that, boys and girls. Decoration Day, they would go to the cemeteries and actually decorate the graves of Union soldiers. How about that? So that was a way to honor, or how about this word for you? Memorialize. There's another word family word for you. Memorialize and show respect and honor for those who have passed away and who have served in our military. Wow, that's really incredible. So even though that person's prediction was incorrect, they didn't decorate their doors or decorate their homes, that was still a really good prediction because it did show that that person was actively thinking about decorating something. Now let's take a look in the third paragraph. In 1882, Decoration Day was changed to Memorial Day when the North and South came together to honor both Union and Confederate soldiers who had died during the Civil War. Wow. So several years later, they realized that, you know what? Even Southern soldiers need to be memorialized, not just the Union soldiers, because we know that the Union won in the Civil War. However, the U.S. has been involved in many wars since the Civil War. So, in 1967, it became the official day to honor all the military who had died serving their country. And boys and girls, I did some more research for you. I found out that since the Civil War, the Spanish-American War took place, World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and that's just to name a few. There really has been many. So Memorial Day helps us remember all of the soldiers in the military who have worked so hard and who have maybe even lost their lives serving our country. And so we find out in the last sentence of that paragraph, it says, in 1971, Memorial Day was legally changed to the last Monday in May, which is when we celebrate it now. Do you know someone whose mother, father, brother, or sister is in the military? Some servicemen are fighting overseas and won't be home for Memorial Day. How about doing something special to show support for your friends and their families who are in the military? And it lists several different ways that you could help to show your support. Our last paragraph says, we're lucky to live in such a free country. However, our country wouldn't be safe and free if it were not for the brave men and women who have served in the military. The purpose of Memorial Day is to remember those who have died fighting for our country, and we can give special thanks to the men and women who serve today. And boys and girls, absolutely we need to give our thanks. We can wear red, white, and blue. We can do many other things. We can write cards and mail them to people. We can FaceTime our family and friends or anyone else that we know that are in the military as well. So there are a few things that I want to spend just a few minutes with you to go back in the passage so that we can find answers. So we're going to highlight in the text where we find the answer to when is Memorial Day celebrated now. And we can find right here in the text, it says that Memorial Day was legally changed to the last Monday in May. So that's what we would find our answer. Also, we know that it asked us, why do we celebrate Memorial Day? And there's actually two places where this is found. And the first place it's found was actually in the first paragraph, and it's right here. It is a day to honor and remember all the military men and women who have died serving our country. And then that's our introductory paragraph. And then in our wonderful conclusion paragraph, it tells us again that the purpose of Memorial Day is to remember those who have died fighting for our country, And we can also give special thanks to the men and women who serve today. There are a few other questions that I have, but because my time is running out, I want to make sure that leave you with this exit slip. I know it's our last day, but you know Miss Cook's going to leave you with an exit slip. Here's your exit slip. What would you like to do this Memorial Day to memorialize anyone who has fought for our country or is currently fighting for our country this Memorial Day? It can be as simple as wearing our country's colors, red, white, and blue, or it can be drawing a picture and putting it on social media if you have that platform. Or how about this, boys and girls? A simple thank you goes a long way. And I'm sure that our men and women would love to hear a thank you from a wonderful fourth grader like you. I have enjoyed my time with you over these last weeks. And I know, boys and girls, that you have learned so much over your last year being in Mobile County. We appreciate you more than you could ever imagine. Don't forget to take your reading and math diagnostic test this week, if at all possible, through logging in to Mobile County's website and going in through Clever. Again, thank you so much for your time, your patience. We appreciate you. You've got a few minutes to get ready for Miss Weekly's math lesson. Bye, boys and girls.